Hi, this is Tim Lightfellow in Kingdom of Ontier. I am doing a short video today on straightening arrows and shafts. I'm going to be using some tools that are specifically purchased for straightening. There are alternative methods that are less expensive, so I'll try to kind of cover those. What I'm using is a shaft tamer arrow straightener. There's another model out there that's more available right now called an ACE. I think it's called a roller straight, and it's a handheld roller. It's also metal. The other piece I'm going to be using is, this is referred to as either an arrow checker or an arrow tester, depending on who made it and where you find it. The benefit of this one is it has wheels on bearings and that move nice and smoothly, so it makes it easy to roll the shaft without the shaft getting any kind of indentations or anything. Okay, so I'm going to move the camera to point at what I'm doing. So the way this works is you put the shaft onto the two bearing wheels and you spin it, and what I'm watching for is two things. One is on the end of the arrow, and I'll bring this down here to show you. You can see that I'm seeing this end go up and down quite a bit, so I know that the shaft isn't currently straight. So the other piece I'm looking for is, I'm looking in here, and what I often do, I have astigmatisms in my eyes, so to help me verify, I use the bottom line of this and the edge of this, so I'll kind of look down between and see if I see the shaft moving up and down here, which I am seeing right in here. So if I'm going to use the shaft tamer, what I do is I look for the point where this curve is downward, because you want to press against the curve to straighten it out. So I put the shaft tamer on the table. I'm going to put this here. So this is the area I want to straighten. I'm going to grab a ways out from it, because to be perfectly honest and show you an example, if you forget and put your hands too close together or put too much pressure, you end up with that for your arrow shaft, and that doesn't do any good. I've done it more than once, and we'll probably do it again some point in the future. How much pressure depends on the spine of the shaft and the diameter. So always start with extra light pressure, and as you get more familiar with it, you'll build up a kind of intuitive knowledge of, you know, how much pressure you need to put. So with it curved down, I'm going to just gently roll it back and forth a couple times, and then I'm going to put it back here and I'm going to check it again. And that looks like that area is mostly straight, and down here is a curve. So I'm going to do the same thing just over and over, and I'm going to work my way both directions on the shaft until I have it straight. There's different approaches. One is start at one end, work your way to the other. What I was just doing, which is not how I normally do it. I normally start at one end. I was starting in the middle because there is a very obvious curve, so it should hopefully have shown on the camera better. There is another way you can use this tool that I will do. Okay, we have a curve down here. So this time I'm going to get it so the curve is upward. Instead of taking this off, I'm going to hold this, which is a little bit awkward. These are fairly heavy. But another way you can do this is if you have a curve curving upward, you can gently press down with this and roll it against the shaft. and you can use that to help. And what I will often do is I'll take it off and do it until I get it really close. And then if it's really close, I'll use this to try and get just that last little bit by picking this up and rubbing it that way. So that is how at home I would straighten an arrow shaft. Now, the other piece of straightening an arrow shaft is you're out in a tournament or competition and one of your arrows is flying weird and you look down the shaft and see that it's curved. Options in the field. This is small enough, and the Ace roller straight is just a little bit larger but smaller diameter, so they are designed pretty well to fit into an archery kit. I mentioned there are alternatives to this. One thing that was mentioned within STA Target Archery is getting a large diameter, nice and smooth socket. So if you do your own car maintenance or whatever and you have a socket set, you can grab a larger diameter. The big thing is you want it to be smooth because you don't want it to gouge or cause any kind of cut or damage to the shaft. So again, these are things that can fit in a kit if you have a kit. Otherwise, if you're out there and you see that it's crooked, again, I have an astigmatism, so for me it's hard to see this all the time, but let me show you how I would normally check this. I would take the arrow and I look down the arrow and I slowly spin it. And I'm looking for any spot where I see that I can see any kind of curve. Now in this particular arrow, it's actually curved back here, which is really hard to try to deal with because this is all glued on. And that's because this is a loaner arrow. It probably sat out and got wet out on the range and then was found, which is why I had to replace fletches already. So with it being back here, it's going to be harder to fix. But if it were up here, you could again use the straightener, or again, if you're out in the field and you're trying to just get through a tournament or competition, if you see it, say it's curved this way, so towards the camera, I could take it and gently press with my thumbs and press in the opposite direction and flex it a few times and check it. And I can keep doing that. It may not be absolutely straight, but hopefully it can at least improve it so that your consistency is better for your competition. So that covers how you can do shaft straightening both at home and out in the field. Thank you.